Hey, everybody, and welcome to the Everything is Fine, Nothing is Ruined podcast. I'm your host this week, Hassan. Joining me, as always, is Tristan.
Hey.
And,
Hey.
folks, we have a special episode this week. We're here to talk about the James Wan spooky movies.
Yeah.
But to make this episode extra special, I went out of my way and I paid a medium to bind a violent and angry spirit to Tristan's space to make sure that he could speak to the real experience of hauntings, and so that he could really just tell us true spookiness.
Oh, that's good. Okay, so who's the medium? Okay.
Martha was her name? I forget her name, honestly.
Martha? What the hell's Martha?
Yeah. Well, she was the spirit. I was mostly just concerned about making sure that she got, very evil spirit, so you could get the authentic experience.
I just look, man. I don't really have time for weird mediums. I got stuff to do. I got places to go. I have life to catch. Just got out of. I just got out of a place. I'm afraid to go back. I can't go back, Hassan. I can't fucking go back.
Go back to where?
You know, the place. Not Silent Hill. That's the thing that everybody's thinking right now. It's not Silent Hill. There's a warehouse, and there's a warehouse down there in downtown, and it's not very well known. And if you go there right now, it's all cleaned up. I bet the psychopath cleaned it all up before you got on this episode. But I'll tell you what.
Just talking about a janitor? Are you afraid of janitors?
Janitor? You afraid of janitor? No. No. The guy captures you, and he takes you, and he makes you play weird games. Sick, twisted games.
Dungeons and Dragons? Are you talking about Kenny? Are you talking about playing Dungeons and Dragons with Kenny? Is that who you're afraid of?
That's a little bit of it, yeah. That's very terrifying in its own right. He's just a very twisted DM, even though I love his campaigns. God damn it. So good at them. Just twisted. Sicko.
No, yeah, I agree with you there. He definitely is.
No, I'm talking about... You know what I'm talking about. You know who I'm talking about. The guy, he's got the little doll face.
Zatch Bell? We talking about Zatch Bell?
It's Zatch Bell, yes. It is 100% Zatch Bell.
I don't want to talk about Zatch Bell. I watched way too much of that.
Yeah, well, we all have. I assume.
No. That's a shame.
No, yeah. So
nobody else should have watched that.
So yeah, it doesn't matter. So you paid a spirit medium to be here so we can,
Well, not to be... No, she just came to your place and found the spirit there. She left after. Yeah, that's why I don't really remember her name. We were there for 5 minutes outside your door.
Okay, so it's a spirit medium. What'd you do? Like a little saging or Ouija board seance kind of stuff? Like what?
Some blood, and maybe cutting someone's fingers off.
Okay, yeah, that's fine.
Totally legal stuff,
That sounds legal. Was the person consenting? You gotta tell me the consenting is on. That's legally blinding.
Okay, technically.
Mm-hmm.
They were unconscious, so...
Okay.
I mean, they didn't wake up when she was cutting their fingers off, so that's like them saying it's okay. If they didn't think it was okay, they were woken up, right?
Yeah, exactly. I agree with that. Honestly, okay, so here's the thing. This kind of explains, this ghost right here. I walked in and I was like, oh, there's a ghost there, whatever, who cares? So I here's the thing, I don't think she's bound a spirit Like she took away a spirit, like spirit's energy from here. She kind of bound one to here.
Yeah, that was the point. No, she was supposed to put the spirit there, so you could experience the haunting.
So she's not a medium; she's a witch.
Again, I really didn't pay attention. I just paid her the money to make sure that an evil spirit was occupying your place, so you could experience what it's like to be haunted.
Oh, I've already experienced that in my life.
I wasted money. Well, in that case, just tell us about the movies then.
Okay, well, here's the thing. There it is. Oh, James Wan movies. There they are. Sick, twisted freak James Wan. Twisted piece of crap. It's not true. Here's the thing. James Wan movies. Son, I got a bit of a trick and a bit of a treat for you today. In the spirit of Halloween. Yeah, see, spirit of Halloween, the pop-up store. It's fun little, yeah. Anyway, bit of a trick and a treat for you, Hassan. So, James Wan movies. I watched a bunch of them. Damn near all of them. And I gotta say a couple of things. This is a very brief episode about James Wan.
Okay.
Because here's the thing. James Wan movies, I think, are totally fine. They are not scary, in my opinion. There's a couple of scenes, like, James Wan's very good at jump scares. James Wan is very good at kind of setting an atmosphere. But what he's really bad at is providing an actual horror flick.
Yeah, I just realized, because I have not watched many of his movies.
Okay, fair enough.
So I just realized I need to look at the list, because I'll be honest.
Let's go through it.
Looking at them, so I remember seeing the first Saw.
So Saw, for sure, 100%
That's like Wan. The thing that, put him on the map kind of thing.
Yeah.
And so I remember hearing people just talk, and, I don't think I saw it in 2004. I would have only been like 15 then, so I might have seen it, but I probably didn't see it until maybe a year later, 2005, depending on at what point it came out. But I remember, hearing about, this film is so scary, it's so intense, blah, blah, blah. And I remember by the time I saw it, I watched it.
Yeah.
Just kind of feeling like, this is one of those films that people who haven't watched lesser films of this genre and are not familiar with think this. Another one I remember, Martyrs. People just espousing, oh my god, Martyrs are so intense, or like Human Centipede. And just watching going, I've watched way weirder, more messed up stuff than this, and it's,
if you want if you want like a weird film that kind of like hits the same vein that Saw does, The Taxidermist, even though it's not like about anything Saw-like, the Taxidermist is it's an art house film about a guy who taxidermies himself.
Oh, that's intense. See,
it's fucking crazy.
That's good.
It's good shit.
Saw's not bad.
No.
But it's just clearly the Hollywood blockbuster version of what a lot of other, not even necessarily horror films, but like gore films do.
It is. You're right. So Saw, here's the thing. The first Saw, when it came out, I would give massive credit to the first Saw. Like, what James Wan did there is, he kickstarted the whole genre of horror, first off. But second off, he re-kickstarted it. Technically, Cannibal, what's it called? Cannibal Holocaust was the first one that kind of hit this stride, really. But
yeah, I definitely saw that film first. So it's like one of the ones where it's like, you see that and then you watch Saw and you're like,
yes, exactly. So yeah, Saw, though, I think Saw is a better like thriller about like this guy's life falling apart. I think that's the conversation back and forth in Saw much better. The other Saw movies are more about the traps and stuff, which sure, that there's an audience for that. I like that stuff. But honestly, when it comes to like cool trap horror movies, I'm more into like the Final Destination films they suck. All of them suck. But like, at least they have fun killing the characters.
Yeah,
Whereas
I've only ever seen
little too uncomfortable.
the first Final Destination. Actually, I've only seen one Final Destination. I don't know which one it was. I'll just say that.
Did it have the logs falling off the truck?
I don't remember. I remember it had a roller coaster.
That's the third one. That's the third movie.
Is it the third? Yeah. Okay, that's the one I've seen then. And remember, yeah, those are kind of fun because you just know, well, it's inevitable.
Yeah,
it's gonna get them, and so they escape this one. You're like, okay, how many times can they get away with this? It's definitely a fun premise. Those are stupid movies.
They are fun. I agree. So after Saw, Saw's quick. We have Dead Silence and Death Sentence. I didn't actually watch these movies. I know enough about them to know that they're probably more interesting than the other movies. But here's the thing. These movies are not what James Wan is known for in the slightest. So, moving right along to his next most notable film, Insidious. So, he started the Saw franchise. He directed the first one, wrote a bunch of the other ones, and produced the rest of them. But Insidious is the one where he kind of like jumped on and started doing ghost stories. Now here's where we kind of deviate into some weird territory, because James Wan post 2007, he makes Insidious and releases that in 2010, and it does really well. That movie had a budget of like $6 million, and it made like hundreds.
It had a budget of 1.5 million and made 100 million.
Yes, exactly. So yeah,
which is an insane. That's like an 80 times return.
Welcome to
nuts. I don't know that any other film has ever done that.
No, welcome to the horror cash cow that is James Wan. He makes Insidious, and he then goes like, "That was really good." Everybody like that. Let's do The Conjuring, about the real life Conjuring house, and do the story about Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Wait, sorry, just go back.
Yep.
You said Insidious is about ghosts. What kind of a ghost story are we talking? Like,
Insidious is kind of here's
ghost is murdering people in a sort of
it's haunting,
like The Ring, or is it more of a
haunting movie? Yeah. So here's how it works. I'll be honest. I'm gonna give you the plot of Insidious, and then we're not going to talk about any other movies because they're all the exact same. So Insidious. Insidious had the plot of basically like, okay, this family moves into a new house.
Of course.
Yep. And then suddenly something is haunting them. Ooh. And it gets really bad for a little bit. And then the family moves out of the house into a new house. But then it turns out the evil thing followed them.
What? Why?
Because it doesn't like them. It wants to cause pain and suffering. That's basically it.
Oh, okay.
There's no reason besides that.
That's really stupid to me.
It's a demon.
Wait, if the ghost is haunting the house, why would it follow them to another house?
I say it's a demon, but it's actually an interdimensional like creature.
What? No.
Really. So
that's stupid.
Insidious is James Wan's attempt to do Hellraiser.
Okay. That's still stupid.
It's stupid. Insidious also has notably... so there was a scientific study that talked about like, the scariest movies of all time, and Insidious is like number 3 or 4, I believe, because it has the best jump scare of all time, which is on the title card right in here. Now that jump scare, where you see like the red guy behind Patrick Wilson's character, good jump scare, really good jump scare.
But is it just that one jump scare? Because a single moment does not make a film.
No, it doesn't. Well, okay, you say that, but in James Wan movies, yes, it does. Because this scene, this jump scare, this specific jump scare, basically created the franchise. If it wasn't for this, nobody would fucking care about Insidious, or The Conjuring for that matter. And here's the thing. So after they move houses, there's the haunting starts again, but there's more ghosts this time, like different ghosts. And then they call in paranormal investigators and a medium. And then Patrick Wilson, who is playing the father, has to go and save his son, who gets taken by the interdimensional demon into the astral plane, essentially. And then save him.
Okay.
And then pull him out and all that stuff. And they win, and they beat the ghost temporarily, and then life goes on temporarily.
Oh, wait, hang on.
Yeah.
Are the Insidious movies all about the same family?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
okay.
and here's the beautiful thing. So are the Conjuring movies, not the same family in the Insidious movies, but here's the beautiful thing. The Conjuring movies are also all about the same family. They focus on the Ed and Lorraine Warren family, which Ed and Lorraine Warren, the Conjuring movies are... Okay, you know how Hamilton is based off a big old lie?
Okay, sure. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Uh-huh.
And that's fine. And I mean, Hamilton is entertaining in its own way, and I still kind of dig it as a musical. Not my favorite, but yeah, it's cool. But The Conjuring is the same thing, because Ed and Lorraine Warren are fucking con artists. What they are known for... Ed Warren is a... Sorry, go on, sorry.
So, the Conjuring is based off of real people.
Based off real people, yes.
But those real people are con artists.
You got it.
Okay, got it.
In the movie, they are big damn heroes. Ed and Lorraine Warren, they are sent by God to save humanity from fucking demons and shit.
Okay.
So, yeah, in The Conjuring, yeah. The Conjuring is very funny because I know the story. So Ed and Lorraine Warren show up a lot in other hauntings. They're known for the Conjuring House mysteries, the Amityville horror. There's a specific haunting in England that I can't remember what it's called, but basically, like, it was a big deal. It was essentially like The Conjuring in North London.
Not sure.
I can't remember what it's called.
All the ones I'm thinking of.
There we go.
Ones.
The Hodgson haunting.
I don't think
which
I know
was
that one.
Also in the 70s. So the Hodgson haunting is interesting.
So is The Conjuring like an era piece? Like they're set in the 70s?
Yep, they are.
Okay.
Which is cool. But
Insidious is modern?
Modern, yeah.
Okay.
So The Conjuring is basically like I said, just take the plot of Insidious and slap it on The Conjuring, and you essentially had the same movie. And I said, that's kind of weird. Like they couldn't just keep doing this. And so I watched Insidious 2, and they did it again. The same movie. And then I watched The Conjuring 2, and he did it again. The same movie. At that point, so I had already seen Malignant, and realized, hey, Malignant has like the same plot line as The Conjuring and Insidious, but like instead of it being a ghost, it's a weird, like, psychic creature that lives literally on the back of this woman's skull.
And do other people see this creature?
Oh yes. You have to like part her hair to see it because it is. So
it's not that big.
It is. It's actually here's the worst part. It's actually pretty huge. So Malignant. I'm just gonna spoil Malignant. I think Malignant is actually like the best James Wan movie he's done. The best horror movie James Wan has done in a long time. But it follows the exact same beats as the other ones, and that's fine. That's okay. But Malignant does some different stuff and makes it into a slasher, because the idea is, like, just to spoil it, essentially the main character, she had like a vestigial, like a Siamese twin, essentially a conjoined twin, in her head, on the back of her head, and like they tried to take it off, and they couldn't succeed in doing that.
Sorry, because of medical reasons or just spooky reasons?
Medical reasons.
Okay.
Yeah, and somewhat spooky because I believe the twin is actually like sent from the devil or something. It's a whole fucking thing. Yeah. So, and lo and behold, this woman lives her entire life under hypnosis, because hypnosis is real, and never realizes she has a fucking weird face lump in the back of her head.
Okay. All right. Uh-huh.
Now, the thing is, they keep the twin, like, kind of sedated for forever, but she takes a spill from her abusive husband, and clunks the back of her head, and lo and behold, the twin now wakes up and is going to wreak havoc. Yeah, it's a good whodunit, in a weird way. It's also kind of like, what's happening here? It is. Here's the thing. It's dumb in a really cool way. I actually like this one a lot. It is the exact same movie as every other ones, except for replace, ghosts with like weird slasher, and you got kind of the same thing. There aren't any like priests or anything, but you have police detectives playing that role. So it's kind of a similar idea. And yeah, that's basically all the James Wan horror movies. Even the current ones like The Nun and The Nun 2, which just came out, like, I think yesterday.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, there's some, like, yeah. Also, Insidious, The Red Door came out this year.
Regan.
Yeah. Oh, and Regan. Yeah, Megan. He produced that. Yeah. I didn't see that one. I've heard it was decent, but,
Yeah, I think that one reviewed okay.
Yeah. The thing with James Wan movies is that even if he produces them, he's still writing a large part of it. And, like, he has a thing he wants everybody to do.
What's that thing?
The exact same stuff that makes The Conjuring and Insidious money. So, like, when you watch these movies, like I said, you kind of realize they're very similar. And not just very similar, they are practically the same flick. And that's the worst thing I can say about these movies. Is that if you watch one, you've watched the rest of them. However, I will say this about James Wan and his movies. He is an extremely entertaining movie maker. His movies, even though I do not classify them as horror in the slightest at this point, because they're too... James Wan movies are safe horror movies for people who don't like horror movies, but kind of like a little spooky here or there. Even though he focuses on some stuff that's like the hauntings in these movies are probably like some of the most infamous hauntings in history. But yeah. Sorry, go on. You were going to say something.
No, so like kind of unrelated to those because like I said, I saw the first Saw movie, but that was 15-ish years ago for me. Or no, longer than that now. God, that would be closer to 20 years ago. Whichever... actually, no, I don't know if I've seen any of his other horror movies looking at it. But I have seen two of his other movies, being Furious 7 and Aquaman.
Those are
and
good.
So my question is, and I don't know the order of you having seen these things, or how recently you've even seen those two other films, but when you look at those films, do you look at them and you can still, see his fingerprints all over it? That, hey, when you look at Aquaman or the Furious 7 movie compared to, Saw, Insidious, whatever else he's done, do you look at it and you can either in the writing or kind of the angles or the way that the characters are talking, etc. Could you, if you didn't, let's say, know that he also did these, but you had seen all of his other things, could you go, wow, this really feels like one of his movies?
Yeah, I would say so. So like, I think that Saw movies have the most significant footprint out of all of them. But if we're getting into, like, I would say if you have seen Fast and Furious 7, then you have also essentially seen Insidious and The Conjuring, because the same structure is there too. Like, that's the thing. Like, he follows this very specific structure because, like, it's like the pop song of movies, because he's nailed this tempo and the structure to his films that basically allow him to just print money.
So he's the AC/DC of movie directors.
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, I mean, hey.
Yeah, you know how like TNT sends like Highway to Hell.
Yeah, like AC/DC. There's a kind of famous interview where somebody just asked them, like, "Oh, what do you say to people who claim that you've just put out the same whatever it is at that point? It's like 12 albums over and over." And whichever member just leans forward, he goes, "It's 13 albums actually." And basically, so I'm saying, like, we do put out the same thing over and over, and we just don't care. That's all right. I mean, it's interesting that hey, you could still look at these very different movies and still go, "Oh no, it's this guy. It's clearly him."
Yep, exactly. So essentially, James Wan is the AC/DC pop, like good pop music of movies. Again, I think his movies are like if someone's like, "Hey, I want to watch whatever James Wan movie," I'm like, "Yeah, hell yeah," because like even if I don't find them scary or good horror or whatever, it doesn't matter because they're still a good flick. It's still a good time. He makes entertaining films. Like, even though I'm not a big jump scare guy, like the way he sets the scene and the way he tells stories in his movies, and like even though he's kind of nailed the very formulaic tempo and formulaic way of writing, it's a formula that really works. Like, here's the thing. Like, AC/DC is a great example because like Back in Black, TNT, Highway to Hell, etc. I like those songs a lot. They're not like individually amazing songs, but like, yeah, that's AC/DC, baby. So yeah, these are James Wan movies, baby. The same way as, yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's essentially my James Wan review in the can.
Okay. Anything else you want to say, or are we wrapping up there?
So I just changed the title card. Hassan, because I got not bored, but I watched because I watched the James Wan movies, and realized they're all the same one. I watched all of them. I did. They're all unique. They're all their own thing, but they're mostly all the same movie. Yeah, nothing to write home about. I embarked on a journey earlier this month. With my partner, because Halloween's great. We love watching horror movies, but we also love watching horror, like Halloween specials. So I did...
Please don't be a bad cartoon. Please don't be a bad cartoon.
I did the unthinkable. I did the thing that people always talk about doing in the month of Halloween and never do. I watched all of the Treehouse of Horrors episodes.
Oh, okay, just a sec. So there's like 30 seasons of The Simpsons.
35.
35, Jesus. And I
technically 35 is airing currently. The
Treehouse of Horror was not there from, I'm going to guess, the first 2 seasons. So I'm guessing it was?
Not the first one. The second one, though.
Oh, the second. So you watched 34 Treehouse of Horrors?
33. The 34th one isn't there yet.
34th.
That will be in 2 weeks from now. So yeah. Or well,
that's a lot.
Next week. Yeah, it's a lot. And it is indicative, absolutely 100% indicative of the quality of The Simpsons as we know it.
That makes sense to me in terms of hey, multiple short stories lets you sort of flex your writing muscles and do a variety of things. That it makes sense that would be a very good way to go. Yeah, you can kind of condense an entire season of this show.
Yeah, exactly.
And how its quality and writing into it. So let's hear about them.
Okay. So we're going to go through like season 1 to 5 pretty rapidly because these are the good ones. Everybody knows season 1 to 5. Poltergeist and the Amityville Horror parody. Basically Bad Dream House. Hungry and the Damned. Which is basically like the Kane and Kodo show up and they try and eat the Simpsons. The Raven. Okay. That's season 1, baby. Season 1 of The Simpsons has the Raven, like, telling.
I thought you said season 1 didn't have Treehouse of Horror.
Or sorry, season 2. Sorry.
Okay.
My apologies.
Wow,
season 2.
Season 2. Wow. Okay.
Season 3, Monkey's Paw, The Bart Zone. If I Only Had a Brain. Explosive. Season 4, Clan Without Pity, King Homer, Dial Z for Zombies. Like the zombies one is like a classic one. Like,
I'm trying to remember that one.
Dad, you killed Zombie Flinders. He was dead.
Oh, okay. Yes. That one. Gotcha. Yes.
Then season 5 actually does 4 stories instead of it's usually 3 stories.
Yeah.
Season 5 broke the mold with Night Gallery, which was kind of like, Wraparounds, which was a parody of Night Gallery. Conan O'Brien wrote that one, interestingly enough. The Devil and Homer, which is like the one where Ned Flanders is the devil and Homer turns himself into a donut. Terror at 5.5 Feet, which is the parody of Nightmare at 20,000 Feet, where Bart sees the gremlin on the side of the bus.
Which, ironically, I think most people probably know that way better than Terror at 20,000 Feet.
They sure fucking do. Yeah, Nightmare at 20,000 Feet is, that's okay. It's an okay short. It's a classic Alfred Hitchcock like short film, but like I gotta say, nobody knows it as much as they know Terror at 5.5 Feet. Bart Simpson's Dracula, where he has like the fun, happy fun, super fun slide lever and slides into Mr. Burns' Dracula like vampire pit. That's classic stuff.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Yeah. The Shinin is season 6. The Shinin. So like, yeah.
Yeah, that's, to me, that is the quintessential one.
Yeah. The Time and Punishment, which is a parody of Sound of Thunder. And then Nightmare Cafeteria, which is like Soylent Green. And then season 7, we start seeing some like disparity in some different ones. So we get Attack of the 50-Foot Eyesores, which is basically like, when all the Billboard mascots come to life and start attacking Springfield.
Oh, yeah. That was...
That's all right.
Yeah, that's all right. I feel like looking back on that one, it's like, not as good.
Yeah. Then there's Nightmare on Evergreen Terrace. So, Nightmare on Elm Street parody. So, that one's a lot of fun. That's where they're with Groundskeeper Willie. He's turns into Freddy Krueger. And like he was burned during a PTA meeting. He sits down during the PTA meeting, and they all watch him burn to death. And then this season 7 also has Homer Cubed, which is the 3D episode, the first 3D episode of The Simpsons.
That one is still such just a wild place it goes even today.
It holds up. It's a really good episode. Like rewatching that one, like I thought like this is gonna live and die in the gimmick, but then like rewatching it again, I was like, oh no, yeah, this is really funny. Like they do a lot of cool stuff even with the animation.
You talked about Hitchcock before, like there is something along those lines of it being, a very smart piece of sci-fi.
Yep.
And this idea of, a cartoon character coming through to the real world. Like, you had had that with stuff like Roger Rabbit before it, but the way that did it is just so viscerally intense.
Yes. Exactly. Then you also have The Thing and I, which is... that's the one with Hugo, with like Bart's twin...
That's a good one. I like
that
one.
One's great. Bart's twin is like running around causing havoc and stuff. Yeah. The Genesis Tub, which is basically where like Lisa makes a small colony of super intelligent beings.
That was okay.
That was okay. It's not great. It's
not really horror is the problem with that one. Yeah,
I think I've seen this specific episode the most because it was on Teletoon, like with reruns all the time.
Okay.
There's also Citizen Kang, which has Kane and Kodos running as like the presidents of the United States of America.
Yeah, I could say this one not a very good horror one. Those are fun episodes, but they're not scary.
No, exactly. After that is season 9. We get the Omega Man, which is based off the Omega Man, where travels back in time, that kind of stuff. That's when he kills the fly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not really scary.
Yeah. Fly versus Fly, which is where Bart. I mean, it's basically the story of the fly, but instead of that, it's like the palette swap of like Bart becomes a fly with a human head and vice versa. Good one. That one's fun. And then Easy Bake Coven, which is kind of like the Salem Witch Trials stuff. That one's all right.
I think I vaguely remember that one.
Yeah. Hell to Pay, which is basically a parody of Hell to Pay.
What's his face? The muscle car dude. All right, babe, that guy, right?
Snake, yeah.
Snake, yes.
Yeah. Snake basically
that's a good one.
Yeah, he's robbing the Quickie Mart, and then he gets taken in for it, and then like given the death sentence. And then Homer straps his hair onto his own head, gets it grafted in, and now he starts doing murders. Yeah. Terror of Tiny Toon, which is basically where they go into Itchy and Scratchy. It's all right. Starship Poopers. Yeah, whatever.
Wow, they really named an episode Starship Poopers?
Yep.
That just, even for Treehouse of Horror, that's a lazy joke.
It is. So this is now season 10, which is number 9. Season 11 starts off strong with I Know What You Diddly Idly Did, which is a great I Know What You Did Last Summer parody. But the twist at the end was that like Ned is actually a werewolf. That's fun.
Okay. Also, I had to look it up to try and remember, but what people consider the Simpsons golden age, and it looks like there's a bunch of debate. But
between
some people will say as early as 7, and it looks like some will go as late as season 10. But somewhere between 7 to 10 seems to be agreed.
I would say and like put it between
listening to
10.
this, I would probably lean a little bit more towards the 7, where it's like some of those last ones you were saying, I'm like those are good episodes, but they're a little goofier and not as, biting and interesting. They're funny and humorous and enjoyable, but they're not saying something.
They're not Terror at 5.5 feet.
Yeah.
Exactly. They're not Devil and Homer Simpson, that kind of stuff. Like they're not even the monkey's paw. Like that's the thing. But season 11 also has like I said, I Know What You Did, which is a great start. Strong start, great little segment. Rolls into the middle segment, which is Desperately Zeking Xena, which is the one where like Bart and Lisa get superpowers, and it becomes Stretch Girl and Guy and Clobber Girl, Stretch Dude and Clobber Girl, and then they fight Comic Book Guy who has stolen Lucy Lawless.
That there's something about that particular one in my and maybe it's because so you said that's season 11, so that would have been what year would we roughly be talking?
99.
So 99. So roughly the same time where I would have been watching things like Are You Afraid of the Dark and Goosebumps.
Yep.
And that particular story, I always just felt, even as a kid, I was like,
it's lame.
This feels a lot like it's one of the Goosebumps episodes.
Yep, it's true. With that said, I will say Desperately Zeking Xena has one of the best jokes of all the Treehouse of Horrors, which is basically like, they defeat the comic book guy, and Lucy Lawless is like, all right, let's go. And she picks up Bart and Lisa and flies away. And they're like, Xena can't fly. She's like, I know, I'm Lucy Lawless. I'm like,
yeah, okay.
That's a good joke.
That's a good one.
And then after that is the Life's a Glitch, Then You Die, which is the year this one's set in 99, of course. This one that came out. So like, of course, Y2K was a big thing. So that one's about like how Homer didn't set the clock correctly and blows up the planet, and then there's mutant zombies everywhere, and the Simpsons live and they go zombie hunting and stuff. It's an interesting one. That one's okay.
I remember that one. Yeah,
that one's
all
okay.
Right, so season 12.
Ghost Did Dad.
Yeah, I vaguely remember this one.
Yeah. Scary Tales Can Come True, which is Grimm's Fairy Tales one. I hate this one.
Oh, okay. Yeah. What's wrong with it?
Yeah, it's lame. It just doesn't.
Oh,
it's not.
Okay.
It's we season 12 is the trend of like, okay, let's like most of these are not horror based. or even scary in the slightest, or even trying to do anything interesting with horror as a genre and trying to like mix the comedy and the horror together. So yeah. Night of the Dolphin, which is basically where Lisa lets go a bunch of dolphins and they go on and rampage and they ruin, like they
Man.
yeah.
Yeah. You can really tell some sun to decline by this point, huh?
Yeah. Hex in the City, which is season 13. I can't even remember this one, to be honest.
I didn't realize Sex in the City was that old as a thing, that they were already like referencing it.
Yeah, it was like 98, I think, when it first came out. I think.
Oh, okay.
I'm not too sure on that one.
I mean, yeah, no surprise 9-year-old Hassan was not watching Sex in the City, but...
Yeah, same here. Then, though, the middle segment is House of Wax, which is a parody of 2001: A Space Odyssey, which does have a guest appearance by Pierce Brosnan. That one's actually pretty good. That's a good horror segment. I thought they did a really good job with that
one.
Yeah, so it's like a smart house, and he's controlling the whole thing. Yeah.
Yes, yep. No, and I remember.
Falls in love with Marge, has to kill Homer. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the bottom of the barrel, Whiz Kids, which is basically a Harry Potter spin-off.
Remember that one?
Yeah, not very good.
Oh yes,
yes, you do.
No, I remember it.
There you go.
Kill me, frog. Yes.
Yeah, the frog prince, gross. Yeah, thing. Which is
that scene's good. I'll say that.
That scene is good. I agree, but the rest of it is, it's just a Harry Potter parody. Who cares?
Yeah.
I
also feel like, just quickly, starting to make way more contemporary references, which then I guess don't seem as interesting.
Yeah.
Parodying something that close to it just seems like,
yeah, right?
Not as interesting.
It's weird because it's it's more that's more of a South Park thing, and I always thought that South Park was kind of lame for doing that shit. So I don't know.
Yeah. Season 14, is that where we're at now?
Season 14. Okay. Send in the Clones, which I think is a pretty good one. It's basically Homer buys a magic hammock that when he like spins around in it, he clones himself.
Vaguely remember it.
Yeah, that one's all right. The Fright to Creep and Scare Harms. That's the one where you're basically where everybody gives it their guns and then the aliens attack and then it's a whole that's the whole thing. That's not the one where like the Mo chases off King and Krotos with the board with a nail in it. That's not that one. That's a whole different one. They do the same thing twice, basically. Because, sometimes you got to run out of ideas. The Island of Dr. Hibbert, that one is... Yeah, Dr. Hibbert runs a Island of Dr. Moreau story kind of island, and he clones everybody, and there's a scene where basically Homer has sex with Marge, but she's a cat now, so it's weird bestiality. Yeah,
that's one where it's a bad parody. It's like it doesn't have anything to say.
Yeah,
it doesn't do anything with the material. It's just like, what if The Simpsons was the island of Dr. Moreau? And you're like,
that's it. It's not great. Reaper Madness, that's in season 15. Season 15 has Reaper Madness, like I said. That's basically where Homer becomes the Grim Reaper.
Okay, yep, remember that one.
We're talking 2003 now. Frankenstein, which basically is the story of Frankenstein with Dr. Frank, but also it's about actually his father who died, and he's bringing him back via Frankenstein ways.
I remember it.
But then his father attaches stuff onto himself. It's a whole... I don't care. Stop the World, I want to goof off. That one's all right. It's Milhouse and Bart have they buy an old comic book, and it has the old comic book ads for weird gadgets and toys and stuff.
Yes. Yep.
And they buy the stopwatch. That one's all right. That one's a lot of fun.
Sure.
Yeah. The Ned Zone, which is a parody of the Dead Zone, which is where Ned Flanders gets to see in the future, and he has to stop Homer from blowing up the world, so he has to kill Homer.
Right.
Yes. Yeah. 4 Beheadings and a Funeral, which is a parody from Hell. It's the tale of Spring Heel Jack the Ripper. So yeah. In the Belly of the Boss, which is a parody of Fantastic Voyage, where they go into Mr. Burns to save Maggie, because she got swallowed by a pill. This is now starting a trend where we see a lot more of Marge mostly naked.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There's a whole thing with like Marge getting like, close to nude in most of these.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Yeah.
What season are we up to now?
Now we're in 17.
Okay.
BI, Artificial Intelligence. Bart is knocked into a coma, and they replace him with Robot Boy, and they fight, and then he finds himself in the woods, like in the AI movie, and he pieces them together into a robot suit, and then goes and kills the robot. Yeah.
That's all I got.
Yeah. Survival of the Fattest, which is a parody of The Most Dangerous Game, which is where Mr. Burns now hunts people, kind of like what Dr. Hibbert did in the previous one.
It just doesn't even sound like a tree. That just sounds like something Mr. Burns would do.
Yeah, that's what I said. That just seems like a real episode.
Yeah.
I've Grown a Costume on Your Face, which basically is it's a parody of The Masks, where basically people can put masks on, but then they become the thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair.
Married to the Blob, which is a parody of The Blob. Homer becomes the Blob. Fat jokes. You Gotta Know When to Golem, which is when basically the Simpsons get a hold of a golem, and then they do.
Remember this one?
Yeah, there's nothing they do. This episode just shouldn't exist. It does nothing. It's not funny. There's no interesting plot. They don't do anything with the fact that they have a golem.
It's like a like actual sort of like traditional Jewish style
Jewish,
golem,
yeah,
right?
exactly. Yes,
I think that's the one reason it's stuck in my head is like, oh, you don't often see actual golems like that.
No, not at all. And like they could have done some cool stuff.
Not a scary episode at all.
No, it could have been. It could have been like the story of the golem it has like
but
there's
yeah,
a weird black magic thing.
Not a good one.
Yeah, exactly. But The Day the Earth Looks Stupid, which is the War of the Worlds parody. Yeah. The only notable thing here is that they have Maurice LaMarche do Orson Welles, which everybody loves Maurice LaMarche doing Orson Welles.
Yeah, that sounds all right.
Yeah. E.T. Go Home, which is basically just a parody of E.T., but they replace E.T. with like Kodos or Kang, either one.
Sounds all right.
Sounds all right. And then we also start trends of like not doing anything horror related here, and this happens a lot more. Like they do a parody of Mr. and Mrs. Smith with Mr. and Mrs. Simpson, where they try and kill each other because they're secret agents.
Okay, move on.
Exactly.
Don't care. That film sucked.
Yeah. The in-house fight scene was a lot of fun. Beyond that, the rest of it.
That film is not worthy of parodying.
No, it's not. Heck House, which is somewhat of a horror one, but it's not really. Moving on. Season 20.
Okay.
Untitled Robot Parody. Do you want to know what that one's about, Hassan?
Is it going to be iRobot?
No.
Oh, thank God. What is it?
Came in 2008. It's a parody of Transformers. Basically,
skip it. Don't care. Skip
right.
it. That's dumb. What? It doesn't make sense. Move on.
How to get ahead in deadvertising, because the first two letters of dead goes into advertising, and advertising is technically what it has pronounced, but it's deadvertising. Moving on. It's the Grand Pumpkin Millhouse, which is a full-on Charlie Brown style. Like they do like the old like Peanut style animation for it and everything.
Okay,
which is
good.
It's charming as hell. And they basically make the Grand Pumpkin come to life, and he starts attacking the town. And the only way to defeat him is to like have Millhouse believe in a grand turkey that shows up for Thanksgiving and kills the pumpkin. But then the turkey turns on the house, in Springfield as well. It's a whole thing, and that one's all right.
Okay,
yeah.
All right.
Dial M for murder or press pound to return to main menu.
All right, that's actually a pretty good title. I'll give him that one.
That's a parody of Strangers on a Train.
Okay. Not really a like Halloween thing, but still.
It's good. It's good. It's a good thriller.
It's a good one. Good one to reference. You can make it Halloween-y.
Yep. Don't Have a Cow, Mankind, which is a parody of 28 Days Later. And like I Am Legend and Children of Men. This is when we start getting into, I don't think I can remember these episodes.
Also, some of just too contemporary parody.
Yeah.
Like I don't like the idea of parodying something that contemporary because you just don't know how that will stand to the test of times. Like you saying they did a Transformers one. It's like, no.
I mean, the Transformers one
really cares about those Transformers movies. Like, obviously they were big.
Yeah, they are.
But no one is like sitting here talking about specific scenes of it or the impact that it had on cinema.
Not really. Well, I mean,
like 28 Days Later,
into that, but
a revered film, same as what was the other one you mentioned?
I Am Legend and Children of Men.
Children of Men, another one, absolutely revered films, but just too early to do those.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It's weird.
Like this episode came out in 2009. Those movies came out in like also 2009.
Around there, So it's like, maybe a couple years before, but that's just too early. Give it some time.
Yeah, it needs some breathing room. So the next episode, next segment is There's No Business Like Mo Business, which is a really cool like stage play style recreation of Sweeney Todd. But it's Mo, and he has Homer stuck on the beer pipes, but because his blood is seeping into the beer, it makes it tastier.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that one's all right. I actually like that one a lot. Like big kudos there. Season 22, War and Pieces, Jumanji parody, but with Satan.
Okay, all right, yeah, that works.
That one's all right. But like board games come to life, and the idea is that to play multiple board games to try and stop the Jumanji board game. It's a whole it's good. Master and Cadaver, which is a parody of Dead Calm. Moving on. Tween Light. Want to guess what that one's about?
Oh, it's a Twilight parody.
It is, yeah. There's a cute guy that comes to Springfield Elementary. Lisa falls for him.
Yeah, it's going to be a lazy parody.
It's a lazy parody. His father is Dracula, though, so that is pretty good.
All right.
The Diving Bell and Butterball, Season 23. Diving Bell and the Butterfly.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah. Again, welcome to the era of, like, I don't fucking know what this is.
Is that like was that a contemporary thing they were parodying or like an older thing?
Slightly older. It came out in 97.
Okay. Well, no idea what it is. Anyways, next one.
Yeah. I lost my place. There you go. Dial D for Diddley, which is a...
I already did Dial M for Murder. That's...
I know. Well, hear me out. What if we took that name but applied it to Ned Flanders and he's actually Dexter? It's a Dexter parody.
And too contemporary. Not interesting.
I will say this one is kind of interesting because Homer has planted like a fake Bible in Ned's house that tells him to kill things, and that one's all right. Like
that's an all right one.
Good gag.
Also a believable thing that Ned would do, but go on.
Yeah. Oh god, the third segment of this episode, season 23, is in the Navi, which is a parody of Avatar.
Yeah.
I couldn't care. I tried my hardest to not even watch this episode.
Okay, this is a perfect one of my complaint, which is you name a single character from the Avatar movies. One.
I can't tell you.
Jake
Sully.
Character. Jake.
Yeah.
And it's because it upsets me that his wife never gets... She's never able to say his name right. She always says Shake.
Sheikh Sully. Yeah, exactly. Season 24, The Greatest Story Ever Told. It's a bit of big hole. It's been a black hole, basically. It's basically... Okay.
That would be like a P.T. Barnum thing, because that would be a good one.
That would be. But this was... Okay, you know the episode of the Justice League Unlimited where Booster Gold has to defeat the Black Hole Man?
Yes.
It's just that.
Okay, I'm back in. That's great.
It's
put
not
Booster Gold in that episode too. I don't care.
They don't have that, but you know, it is that story. It's a pretty good. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Unnormal Activity. It's a Paranormal Activity parody. This one makes no fucking sense.
What? Sorry, what year is this?
2020. Sorry, 2012.
That there couldn't be very many. Go on, but
Yeah.
Paranormal Activity could not be particularly old at that point.
No, it came in like 2010, 2011. So yeah, it's bad. Like, here's the thing: it starts off.
2007 is the first one. Okay,
Really?
All right.
Man, okay.
Yeah, apparently.
Jeez, I was gonna actually watch those as well at some point, but anyway, Unnormal Activity is a. So I know how those movies essentially go, but like it's not a. It's too all over the place to really say what's up, because like it's. They do the ghost haunting stuff, and then like Marge gets possessed, sort of, and then also Maggie's possessed, kind of, and then it's back and forth. It's a mess. It's a mess. It's 7 minutes long, and it's a mess. How did you? I don't fucking know. I did that. Bart and Homer's Excellent Adventure, which is a parody of Back to the Future. Bart, which I don't know why it's not just a Bill and Ted parody, but you know. It's Back to the Future, and then Bart essentially has to stop himself from being... Well, he has to stop himself from being erased, but then realizes if he actually lets the erasure go through, he'll live a better life, because Marge falls in love with Artie, as opposed to Homer. And then he's like the son of a... Artie Ziff, yeah.
Okay,
so
that's a weird one to pull back.
Yeah, but then it turns out he's like the son of a tech billionaire, so he's like, you know... Okay. The Places You'll Dope, which is a parody of Cat in the Hat. I did say this segment fucking rules. Like, out loud. It's really good.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a weird Halloween choice.
Right? It is. But they Halloween it up in just the right way to make it interesting, you know?
Okay.
Yeah. That one's good. Then there's Dead and Shoulders, which is a parody of The Thing with Two Heads. Bart gets his head strapped to Lisa's shoulder.
That's fun.
It's fun. We've seen this thing done multiple times, but you know. Freaks No Geeks, which is a parody of Freaks, which is the Google Gobble, one of us. That's that.
Yeah.
It's an okay parody. School is Hell. Couldn't tell you what that one is about.
Okay.
I've erased that one. We're on season 26 now. I've erased that from my mind.
That's fair. Fair.
They also do a parody of A Clockwork Orange, which is A Clockwork Yellow, but they really don't understand A Clockwork Orange. I don't know what they did here, but they just really fucked it.
Clockwork Orange seems like a hard one to parody as a like.
What would you say is
hey, this has to be PG-13.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, they try their best to make it PG-13. Also, I will point out, as of like season, I want to say 15, season 12 maybe, no blood. Like, or at least extremely very little blood. Like, no blood elevator in the shit in the episode. Nothing like that. Too much. Now it's just like, yeah, keep it tame. Clockwork Yellow is also like they got the what would you say is the most like terrifying scene in A Clockwork Orange?
I mean, for me, I would say it's the parts where, you know, the characters are having to question, like, what is reality and all that. You know, it is the mental terror of it.
Yeah, because at one point, Malcolm McDowell's character he has a mental breakdown and realizes he doesn't know what's what anymore.
Yeah, right.
They don't do that. This is just like Moe and...
Because how do you, in a PG-13 thing...
But they could! They have done that before.
Okay. Well, what's the next episode?
The Others, which is a parody of The Others.
They didn't even rename it?
Nope. It's lazy. It's, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, season 27.
Okay.
Here's the thing. I'm going to put this out here. Season 27's Treehouse of Horrors, I couldn't fucking tell you in the slightest what happened in this one, and I don't care.
Okay.
I'll go through them. Wanted Dead, Then Alive, Homerzilla, Godzilla parody. It sucked. It sucked real bad. Don't watch it. Telepaths of Glory, which is basically a parody of Chronicle. Great. But season 27 and season 34 have little different things happening in there, and we'll get there in a second. Because I want to go back to that, because season 27 did something fucking interesting that was outside of the Treehouse of Horrors.
Okay. And
made a better episode than the Treehouse of Horrors episode ever could even think of being.
Weird. Well, let's hear about 28 then.
28. Dry Hard, which is a parody of The Hunger Games and Mad Max Fury Road.
What? Like both at the same time?
Same time. Mr. Burns is kind of like more, what's his name? The water baron kind of dude.
Something Mortis, I want to say.
Yeah, Mortis Kane or something like that. I can't remember his name. Yeah. And then he puts together Hunger Games, and it's really lame.
Yeah, it's too much of one thing.
BFF RIP, which is basically where Lisa's all of Lisa's best friends die.
That's
it.
Doesn't really even have friends, so
Yeah, when she gets a best friend, though, they die. That's basically it. Okay. Or if she declares them her best friend, they die. Mofinger, which is a parody of technically Goldfinger and Kingsman.
Okay.
It's
weird,
disjointed and weird and all over the place. It's bad. I don't watch that one. Season
29.
29! The Sweets Hereafter, which is a parody of Sausage Party, which is a preamble.
Nope. Next one. Go on.
The Exorcist, which is a parody of The Exorcist. Finally, a parody of The Exorcist. Fucking like 30 years later.
Yeah, 30 seasons in, because this would be season 30, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it season 29?
This is season 29, yeah.
Okay, it's season 29, yeah.
Yeah, so it's Treehouse of Horrors number 28.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yeah, which is now there's an episode earlier in this list where Maggie was also possessed. We're back there again.
Yeah, back there. Great. Next episode part of it.
Next segment, Coralisa, which is a Coraline parody done in 3D, really gorgeous looking, great segment. They did a good job in this one.
Okay.
No notes.
Yeah. That's a good one to parody.
Yeah.
That's a good deep pull in a way.
Yeah.
The film's not that popular.
No.
Season 30.
Season 30. Well, there's one more actually in season 29.
Oh, right. They drew 4.
Yeah. So it was Homer. Now, I'm having a hard time remembering what this one actually was.
Season 29.
Hold on. Homer. Oh, this one's fucked up actually. So this one actually is worth watching. This one's literally the most fucked up thing they've done. Yeah. So this one is a parody of Survivor Types. What Homer is about is Homer is home alone because his family goes up to vacation, and he accidentally barbecues his finger, cuts it off and barbecues it by accident because a bunch of shit happens, and he's like, "Well, waste not, want not," and he eats it, and he realizes he's delicious as hell.
Okay, all right.
So he starts cutting pieces off himself and eating himself.
Okay, that is surprisingly dark.
It's extremely dark.
Has almost no blood these days.
Yeah, that one's a really good episode.
Interesting.
Yeah. Then
season 30.
Season 30. Intrusion of the Body Snatchers. It's an Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I skipped that one. I don't really care. Then there's Multiplicity, which is a great way to name this episode. It's a parody of Split.
It's gonna be a Multiplicity parody, and it's
I mean, sort of, but not really.
That wasn't very good.
No, it's a parody of Split, which I think Split is okay. It's not great. Split is the spin-off from the M. Night Shyamalan movie, right? That by the heroes. Yeah.
I forget what that one.
I can't remember what it's called,
but
yeah, that one. The Split's okay, but Multiplicity is basically the same thing. I think they do a good job with Lisa taking on different personas. That one's kind of fun, but it's not great. Lowest of the low though is Geriatric Park, which is Jurassic Park parody but with old people. Next.
Season 31.
Season 31 has the dubious honor of the Treehouse of Horrors being the 666th episode.
Okay.
Of The Simpsons, yes.
That's really good.
The prologue is The Omen. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
And then they roll right into Danger Things.
Is it actually Stranger Things parody?
Yeah, 100% is. It's not. It's lazy as hell. And then Heaven Swipes Right, which is basically an episode of a parody about Heaven Can't Wait. Or Heaven Can Wait. It's basically Homer has to go and kill people. It's whatever. And then When Harry Met Slimy, which is the Shape of Water parody. Yep.
Okay. That's a weird thing to parody.
Yeah, I also pointed out, in one of these Treehouse of Horrors, I can't remember which one it was. I think it was season 27 or 28. It doesn't necessarily matter, but Guillermo del Toro did the couch gag opening for it.
Okay.
That's worth a look. That one's pretty good.
It's season 32 now?
Season 32, yes.
Okay.
Toy Gory, which is a parody of Toy Story, but it's sort of horror. It's also in 3D.
I mean, that just sounds like a bad version of, oh man, why can't they name that movie that it was actual live action that had the toys coming?
Something Soldiers.
Toy Soldiers? Was that
Soldiers,
just what it was called?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, that's actually a good movie. That just sounds like a bad parody of that, honestly.
Yeah, I like that movie, but yeah, exactly. Then there's Into the Homerverse. Into the Homerverse.
Into the Spider-Verse parody?
Yeah, 100%. So
do they at least have Spider Pig?
Nope.
Lame.
Yeah,
they came up with their Spider-Ham parody.
Yeah, and this was
years
in
ago in
2020.
the movie. Why would you not have it here?
And this was
Moving
in 2020.
on.
Yeah, it's bad. It's not very good. B9 Rewind, which is an episode about Russian Doll, which they did a really good job with this one segment. This one segment is really good. It's worth season 2.
Bizarre one to parody, I feel.
It is, but I mean, Russian Doll has a lot of death in it because like the main character dies multiple times.
That show didn't seem that popular.
I'm not sure, but I mean, like it's a pretty.
I know people like it. I'm just surprised that they would go for that.
Yeah. Season 33. Now, okay. Super Eye Patch Wolf put out a video this month about how The Simpsons is good again. And season 33 is the beginning of The Simpsons being good again. And I will say this Treehouse of Horrors is weak-ish, but not bad.
Okay.
Like it's middle of the road. So it starts off with the parody of Bambi called Barty.
Okay. All right.
It's whatever.
Yeah.
Homer as the stag kills Mr. Burns. It's all right. But then we do an episode called Bong Joon-ho's The Side of Parasite.
Okay.
Which is an episode of Parasite. That one's
I'm
pretty
down
good.
For that.
Yeah,
That's pretty good. Yeah.
They did a good job in that. And then they did Nightmare on Elm Tree. I don't remember what that one is actually about, to be honest.
Okay. All right. Well, season 34?
Nope. Still more than 33.
Right.
2 more. Poetic Interlude, which is basically the Telltale Bart, which is done by a Vincent Price sound-alike.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
And then Dead Ringer, which is a parody of both The Ring and TikTok in general, like the platform. It's okay. It's not.
See how that works.
It took him a long time to do The Ring. I don't know why.
I don't mind that. Yeah, I actually like that idea. Give something time, see if it actually is worth parodying.
Yeah, it just seems like they're just too like gung ho about jumping into these parodies. But anyway, so season 34, which I gotta say, yeah, this one is finally, like, if I was gonna rank these, like, season 1 to 7 are the best ones. But then, like, season 34's Treehouse of Horrors, number 8. Easy. Okay. Easy. So, We start off with The Pookadook, which is a parody of the Babadook.
Sure.
Fucking terrifying. Like,
oh,
there's no comedy here. This is just Marge trying to kill Maggie, and it is horrifying. Like, the comedy comes from the fact that then they realize, like, Marge has just kind of, like, been on the sidelines, and nobody seems to care about her. And, like, just... They like, Maggie's trying to, like, find a picture of, like, the family to show Marge to snap her out of the Babadook, possession. And when she's trying to find these pictures, like, oh, here's a great one of the family. No, Marge is in the back room cleaning up a mess. Oh, and this one's great. No, Marge is in the back room putting out a fire. All this, okay. It's a great, pretty good, great segment. Death Tone, which is a full-on, like, they just went full anime, like, redid the style and everything of Death Note.
Yeah, I've seen clips of this one.
This one's really good. This one's, like,
kind of blew up on it.
Yeah, they do a good job of, like, just, like, letting Lisa breathe and, like, be funny. God, yeah, this one's really good. And then Simpsons World. Have you heard about the Simpsons World parody? This is actually the best one they've done.
No.
Okay.
Like Disney World? I don't know.
No. You know the show Westworld?
Yes.
So what if Hassan...
Yeah, that's a good one to parody.
What if Hassan... We, as a society, created a theme park for The Simpsons. What would you put in there? The greatest...
just be all, the memes,
The memes, right? Yeah. You would put the memes in there. Know what we need to actually maybe let go of real hard?
The memes.
The memes. This Simpsons World is a fantastic dissection of what The Simpsons is currently to society. Like, somebody thought about this and sat down and wrote this episode, and I guarantee, like, the executives wanted to can this one hardcore. But, like, they didn't. And that, my God, they struck horror genius, because, like, this is a existential crisis of animatronics. Basically, like, the Simpsons animatronics come to life and realize their lives are just these shambles of the past, of people just reliving the same 5 seasons over and over again, and all this stuff. Like, there's a scene where, like, so Homer, so it's monorail Homer. He bumps his head during the scene, and, like, he has to go in for repairs because he's a robot, so just gets a dent. So as they're trying to repair him, he wakes up, gains sentience, and basically starts, like, waking up the rest of his family for the monorail episode. And from there, he essentially tries to find a way out of Simpsons Land and fights his way out against people with, like, 5 fingers, by the way, like, straight up, like, human beings. It's That's weird.
Wrong.
It's wrong. It is wrong. It is. And it's wild looking. And yeah, it's a good, like, quick, like, okay, yeah, there's some action in here. They do a few of the meme things, but, like, there's a great one where, like, they try and push Homer into the bush, the bush meme.
Yeah.
But he, like, walks into the bush and then comes and is like, no, fuck that. And he, like, grabs the 2 guys that pushed him in and shoves them in the bush, and they immediately die. There's blood and gore. It's great. Yeah.
And that's the most recent Treehouse of Horror.
Yeah. The beautiful thing, though, is that the way they end this is that the Simpsons end up in Bob's Burgers, and then it pulls out, and there's a Bob's Burgers world, and also a South Park world, and a Rick and Morty world, and a Big Mouth...
Rick and Morty
and
world.
a SpongeBob world, and a Big Mouth world, and a fucking... just, like... Yeah, it's a wonderful dissection of what we do to these cartoons and what it means to, like, just fucking let it go, maybe. Yeah. So, like I said, there were some interesting things they did besides these, though. I'll start with season 34 because I think this is the most recent one, but, like, it's the less interesting one to me because this one. Well, actually, no. You know what? No, I won't do that. I'll do season 27's first. Season 27. So before Treehouse of Horrors number 26 came out, they released an episode called Halloween of Horror. At the beginning of the episode, they reference the Treehouse of Horrors, like, oh, like then it comes to Homer's like, oh, hey, diddly neighbor, you gonna go over to the treehouse and tell 3 scary stories this year? And Homer's like, it's whatever, who cares about that shit? But the rest of the episode, so Homer is really into Halloween, and he's really into decorating his house, and he calls it Evergreen Scarus. Or sorry, no, Evergreen Terrors. That's what he calls it.
Okay.
Yeah. And he's like, you know, like in those Christmas movies where like one person's like really into decorating, like a la like, you know, Christmas Vacation. He does that. He goes full out. Like, yeah. Then he has to go make a run to a Spirit Halloween. And he runs afoul of the people working there because he gets them fired by accident. And they vow revenge on him. Meanwhile, though, Lisa's looking forward to going to a Krusty the Clown style, like Halloween corn maze haunted house kind of jamboree thing. And, you know, tickets are expensive and like Bart's talking it up. And she gets there and it turns out Lisa hates horror. She's super scared of this shit. Didn't understand it before. But now she's in like a real life situation and realizes she just can't stomach this crap and breaks down and now is terrified of everything Halloween. And like she has this whole meltdown in school where she hides in a locker, and it's implied like a few hours later she gets like Marge picks her up and she's like, oh my god, like we have to, and she tells Homer we gotta take down Evergreen Terrors, and he's like, but that makes us skippers, we can't be Halloween skippers, no. So, the idea here is that Homer stays at home with Lisa, who kind of like reverts back to a childhood stuffed toy, which is Taily. It's just a raccoon tail from a stuffed toy. And Marge takes Bart and Maggie to a Halloween trick-or-treating thing in like the rich part of town, but they get kicked out because they're not rich. So there's that. But so they... But what actually is the cool thing here is that like, so it's Lisa and Homer at home, and then like the pop-up crew, the pop-up people that Homer got fired show up to kill him. Like legit, like come up they're here to murder Homer Simpson, and
he
now
deserves it. Let's be honest.
I mean, probably, but at this point, it's Homer locking the doors and trying to like kind of like mitigate the damage and trying to not let on to Lisa that there are murderers coming after them. And in doing so, the whole thing ends up with like it's a great message on like trying to face your fears and understanding when it's okay to be afraid, and that it is okay to be afraid as long as you're using your brain as well. And it's just like it's this really tender, good moment between Lisa and Homer, and it's the best episode of recent Simpsons I've seen, besides a more recent one. We'll get there, but yeah, we'll get there in a different episode, I should say. In season 34, though, because that did well in season 27, they didn't want to do it all that much too often because they realized there's maybe like not a whole lot of play for this. But in season 27, season 34, what they did was they did a Treehouse of Horrors Presents. Which
what does that mean? I don't know what that means.
So it's a Treehouse of Horrors Presents Not It. So it's a parody of It, like both chapters 1 and 2, and it slaps. It's a good parody. Like they do like the it's Homer and like Barney and Moe and Carl and Marge as kids fighting Krusty, who is like Pennywise as kids, and then there's a segment number 2 where it's them as adults doing the same thing, and it's just a good parody of It, like just straight up like is interesting, funny, well written, good characterization of everybody, like 0 notes, fantastic.
So it's a full episode, is it, or just a segment?
Full episode.
Okay. Okay, interesting.
Yeah. So like before the Halloween Treehouse of Horrors, they do this, and it's just like, we just gave you some extra, and it's good. Like this is the thing is like, even though season 34's Treehouse of Horrors is really, really extremely good, Not It is a whole different production that I hope they keep doing moving forward, just because they do a whole different thing. And like it hits even harder in season 27, because season 27, that Treehouse of Horrors is a dud, a huge dud, just a really, really, really massive like shit stain of a Treehouse of Horrors. But like Halloween of Horror previously, like in the previous episode, like episode 4 is Halloween of Horror, and then they do Treehouse of Horrors. There's no comparison. Halloween of Horror is amazing. That is an incredible episode. And so I also watched a little more of The Simpsons, just to kind of like get myself ramped up. So I ended up watching, no, that's not the one, season 33, yeah. So I ended up watching a little bit of like season 33, just a couple episodes, but because I know that they've been doing the guest openings and that kind of stuff. And I wanted to see the guy, I can't remember his name, the guy does the Springfield Kids. He did the opening for episode 22. You ever see the webcomic, Those Springfield Kids?
No.
Well, it's basically like the kids growing up as like, teenagers.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good. But the episode it's on is an episode called Poorhouse Rock, which is a full-on Schoolhouse Rock episode, and it's probably the scariest thing they've done is they actually discuss like late-stage capitalism, but in like a Schoolhouse Rock way. Kind of weirdly tied into Halloween, and just like, that's scarier than all these.
Okay.
But anyway, that's Treehouse of Horrors. I watched all of that, and it's a good time. I gotta say that, like, there's like the very beginning is amazing, and then like past season 10, the middle ground between season 10 and like season 33, it's rough. It's a rough time. It's kind of weird, and they're just trying some shit. I can't blame them, but it is what it is. But yeah. So yeah, Treehouse of Horrors. I gotta say, I promised that there was going to be a bit of a treat in this episode, because that was the trick, was that I got bored of the James Wan movies and I went to Treehouse of Horrors. The treat is this, Hassan. I'm going to do a full, from season 1 to current Simpsons rewatch.
Somehow, despite me having watched over 3,000 episodes of like Super Sentai and Power Rangers, I'm still sitting here going, that sounds dumb. You shouldn't do that. That's too much.
Yeah, maybe a little bit. But you know me, I like a challenge. Yeah, I don't know. I just thought about it and was like, you know what? Yeah, what if I once a month did a Simpsons check-in and did two seasons an episode?
That's too much.
Yeah.
Anyways,
so yeah,
we should wrap it up. Why don't you tell people where to find us?
You can find us in places.
You insane person.
You can find us on the interwebs. You can find us at Twitter. I guess if it's still around by the time you see this. Who knows? We're there at EiFNiR. Yell at us about how much you love James Wan or hate James Wan. I honestly don't think there's anything that's really to hate. He's pretty mediocre when it comes to the horror stuff, but yeah, get entertainment movies. And then tell us about how much you love and also hate, but then also love again, the Treehouse of Horrors. Because I feel like that's the more common ground we're going to find. Yeah. Do those things. Go to our Spotify, iTunes, YouTube, which is where you're watching this right now. Crazy. Like and subscribe and do all those things. Leave comments. Listen to our show. Share our show with your friends. if you enjoy a little bit of the ultra violence, maybe share our show. Just go to our friend's site, it's djdane.com. That's the guy that does our music, Andy. djdane.com. Go there, listen to his great tunes, and I just trap him in a 3D world, or I guess in a 2D world is the opposite.
Okay,
of what,
yeah, he's already in a 3D world, so it's not scary.
Yeah, it's true. So
2D world, yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, or 4D world. I'm not really sure which is scarier.
Probably 4D.
Yeah, let's do 4D. 4D's weirder. I think you can conceptualize.
New dimension, that brain can't handle that.
No, I think you can conceptualize a 2D world pretty well.
Yeah.
But like 4D world, I don't even know.
Yeah.
Yeah, where do you go with that shit? Anyway, that's it for our show. Tune in next time for another Ed episode of Everything is Violence is Ruined. See ya.
See ya.